Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Chamber Music Society of Mississauga, Visual Arts Mississauga, and the Riverwood Conservancy, we want to welcome you to our third concert as a part of Culture at Riverwood here. We'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the land. We would like to acknowledge that the land on which we operate is within the treaty lands and territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nations and the traditional land of the Wendat Nation and the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. This land is part of the Upper Canada land surrenders to the Crown, and today, the region surrounding Riverwood remains home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. And we are grateful to have the opportunity to live, work, and play here. And now I'll pass the mic over to Cheryl.
Thank you all so much for being here this evening. It's a really great honor to host the Blackfish Project tonight here at the Riverwood Conservancy. They're an amazing group, 10 musicians, and Juno nominated. So really, really amazing. Juno nomination for Classical Composition of the Year. We will actually, this is also a really exciting night for them. It's their album launch. So join us after the show to mingle and purchase a CD if you'd like. I don't know if they have download cards. Are you doing download cards? Just CDs? And join for some light refreshments in the back of the barn. Mingle with musicians, meet everyone, and we hope that you enjoy the show. I'll pass it over, and they can explain more about the concert.
Good evening, everyone. This is a real treat to be here in this beautiful conservation. We are the Blackfish Ensemble. My name is Bijan Sepanji. I'm a violinist of the Tombo String Quartet and also one of the violinists in the Blackfish. And this is my colleague, Bahar Tawassuli, who will be conducting this evening. I'm going to be your host. We're going to be your host and just talk a little bit about the project and just to give you some background, because there's quite a bit of background going on, and I think it's a more enjoyable experience for everyone if you know some of that background without making it too boring, I hope. So, thank you for the kind words, Cheryl. That's a real treat to be here, and thank you for having us. We also like to thank Brian Peckham for clearing all the hurdles for the reception and the album release. We're very excited to be able to have that. And we also like to thank Nicole Blaine, Joseph Glasser, and Taylor Trudell at the Canadian Music Centre for tonight's album launch. As well, we have to thank Toronto Arts Council, Ontario Arts Council, and the Canada Council for the Arts for making Blackfish Project happen in the creative process, in the recording process, all of that. But also our crowdfund supporters. We had a big crowdfund last year in January and also in the previous month in December 2021. And we had over 80 people donate to our crowdfund for the actual audio mixing and mastering. So that was very, very helpful, and we'd like to thank all of them whose names are on our website as well. So, as mentioned, tonight's performance is extra special because we are officially launching this Juno-nominated album. It's going to be a pretty amazing show, I hope. And guess what? After the performance, you can grab a copy of the CD and also help yourself to some light refreshments. I hear there'll be some cheese, maybe. And we'll see what else. Okay, great. And here's Bahar.
Thank you, Bijan. Blackfish was actually composed in 2020 and recorded in 2021. Thank you. But as we all don't want to remember, of course, we were also dealing with a pandemic back then. So it's taken us a bit of time to find the perfect occasion to mark the launch of this album. In the meantime, we even received a Juno nomination, as it was mentioned earlier, this March in Edmonton. And it was a bit chilly, of course, as you can imagine, and I was there with Kian. So in other words, it's been a very eventful journey for the Blackfish album. And now, what is the Blackfish? The Blackfish is the name of the music album composed by Kian Emami. It is freely adapted from a book called The Little Blackfish. What this means is that our music isn't following the narrative of the story, but rather it's loosely inspired by it. The story of The Little Blackfish was written by Samad Behrangi in 1967. It's about a little blackfish who is overcome with boredom and decides to leave the pond to venture into the world and to discover what's beyond the pond. So she starts a journey to explore new things and starts a new adventure. And through this discovery, she learns just as much about herself as the world around her. One part of the story that we do sort of follow is actually towards the end, when the little blackfish gets swallowed by the pelican. The author doesn't make it clear if the blackfish survives the ordeal or not, but it's clear that the legacy lives on. You'll hear it towards the end of the performance, and it's probably the craziest sounding part of the whole piece. We thought it would be nice to read a few excerpts of this book to bring you inside its world. So we will read from both the English and the original Farsi versions for you.
In the middle of the night, little blackfish woke up. He saw moonlight on the water, lighting everywhere with a mysterious silvery light. It was beautiful, and this time little blackfish could talk to the moon as he'd so longed to do so. "Hello, pretty moon," he said, and the moon replied, "Hello, little blackfish, you are a long way away from home." "Yes," said little blackfish, "I am seeing the world." Moon smiled. "The world is huge. From down there, you can't see it all as I can." "I'm just happy to see more of the stream," said little blackfish. "I just want to see it to the end." He was about to ask the moon how the world looked from so far away, but a cloud began to slide over the moon, shadowing the lovely light. "Don't go, moon. Oh, I wish you could light the world all the time," called little blackfish.
یکی بود، یکی نبود. یه ماهی سیاه کوچولو بود که با مادرش در جویباری زندگی می‌کرد. این جویبار از دیواره‌های سنگی کوه بیرون می‌زد و در ته دره روان می‌شد. خانه ماهی سیاه کوچولو و مادرش پشت سنگ سیاهی بود، زیر سقفی از خزه. شب‌ها دوتایی زیر خزه‌ها می‌خوابیدند.
Let's introduce the musicians of the Blackfish Ensemble. So, of course, we have our composer, Kian Imami, who's the brains behind the project. Sitting behind a laptop, he's not hiding from you, but he's a little busy because he's part of a performance ensemble too. So he's one of the performers. He's going to be doing some live narration, reading some little snippets, and he's also going to be doing audio effects and sound effects through the piece. Then we have the string quartet. So I'm part of the string quartet. Bijan, and then here we have Patrick on second violin. We have Alex McLeod on viola, and we have Sarah Steves on cello. So that's the string quartet part, but then we thought it would be a lot more interesting to add a few more instruments and give it some otherworldly sounds. Otherworldly, of course, bass comes to mind. So double bass is one of my favorite instruments, and we have the amazing Andrew Downing on double bass. Juno-winning, multiple award-winning musician who's had a huge contribution to this project with his beautiful improvisations. And of course, we have Maj Sekar as well on the clarinet. And it's going to be a little different type of clarinet to, let's say, classical clarinet, because you're going to hear a lot more sliding between notes. He's going to have a really soulful sound, and yeah, it will be something really special. It's very close to the human voice. And last but not least, we have our percussionists, wonderful percussionists, Yang Chen and Naoka Sujita, who will be doing vibraphone, as well as a whole host of percussion instruments that kind of create that sound that we're after. Really quick, what's improvisation? If you're familiar with like any kind of like jazz or music that's not typically Western, people don't play the notes on the page. They'll play some of them, but then they also move around them and they play other ideas and they interact with each other using those ideas. So Blackfish it's sort of a classical piece. There's notes written down, but there's parts of it that aren't written down, and that's where the improvisation comes in. And that's why we need to have really good improvising musicians too. So without taking too long, we thought this would be a great chance to kind of bring you into this world of improvisation a little bit, just with two of our instrumentalists. And that'll be with Andrew on double bass and Majd on clarinet. So they're going to play something that's related to the Blackfish with some of the music without actually playing any of it. So here we go. Thank you. That was amazing. I really enjoyed the sound of clarinet when you hold a note and it's just kind of disappears and then it comes back again. Yeah, it's magical. So the original title of the children's book is Mahi Siyahe Kuchulu, which means, as you guessed it, the little blackfish. You guys want to learn some Persian? Yes? Yes, of course. Yeah, of course. That's what I thought. I thought it'll be a resounding yes when I asked that question. So basically, you have to say Mahi Siyahe Kuchulu. Beautiful. Well, you guys have been taking Farsi lessons, right? Yeah. I know who's it. Yeah. So you just said Mahi, which means fish, Siyahe, black, Kuchulu, little. By the way, Bahar, have you seen Mahi Siyahe Kuchulu lately?
No, Bijan, I haven't. Have you?
Maybe we should call her and, see if she's around.
Yeah.
How about we try it on an instrument and see if we can actually call it, yeah?
Mahi siyahe kuchulu, mahi siyahe kuchulu.
You guys want to call out as well? Mahi siyahe kuchulu.
Mahi siyahe kuchulu, mahi siyahe kuchulu, mahi siyahe kuchulu.
Wow, that was amazing. It's so fluent.
We're excited. So at some point,
So at some point, we're going to ask you to please join us, if you like, to call the Blackfish together. And that would probably be the only time that I would turn to the audience. And I'll make sure, definitely, to make it clear to you when to join us, if you like. Bishan, what else can you tell us about the music?
well, there's a lot going on in the music. But one of my favorite parts, favorite sections of the music is the third movement. So it's in 3 parts, 3 big sections. They're about 8 minutes, and then another 8 minutes, and then the third part is almost 20 minutes long. It's a longer section, but that's one of my favorite parts. And the title of the movement is Swimming in D, and it's one of the, you feel like you're in the ocean. You'll hear it, but it's really got a lot going on. And one of the things that really makes it special is that it's made up of 48 different musical ideas that kind of go into one another. So each of these musicians, 9 performers on stage, including Kian, will kind of go and play them or sing them one after another, but not at the same time necessarily. So they kind of morph into each other, and it creates this really special effect. It's been done before by a famous musician, Terry Riley, American composer, back in the 60s, I think, and he wrote a famous piece, In C. So it's kind of a nod to that. This is in D, the next note. But a bit different because it's kind of drawing from lots of different music like Persian folk, pop, ritual, military music, jazz, progressive rock, and a whole bunch of other stuff. One of the interesting quotations from that is it's a pretty well-known Persian tune. It's called the Buttechin, or A Maheman. This piece was very famous. Ostad Shajarian sang it before the revolution, after the revolution, and there's many recordings of this piece. So we thought it would be nice just to introduce that theme to you a little bit, rather than just hearing it for a snippet. And you probably, I don't know, maybe you've heard it before, maybe you haven't heard it. So we're going to do a little string quartet version of that, along with our talented percussionists who are going to join in as well. So here is A Maheman with the string quartet plus percussions. Thank you, thank you. That was a maheman or botechin. Great, and I think we're just about to do our performance now. Is there anything else, Bahar, you'd like to tell the audience before they leave? I'm just kidding, we're gonna start the music.
Now that you have some knowledge of the background of the Blackfishes, I think it's time for us to perform it for you. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy the performance in this beautiful setting.